What is going on, guys? We are back with another live. Let's get it. Here we go. Here we go. Man, I feel so dehydrated. I feel like so dehydrated. I've so much freaking running around for work and then actually being at the gym. My body's not used to this kind of workload. It's been a while, at least a year since I went hard in the gym. Not gonna lie, I've just been lifting heavy. I've just literally done the bare minimum, but trying to just maintain my strength. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Well, here we go, guys. I am rocking the purple and gold bar shirt. Checking out the back. Can you guys see that? Hopefully you can. I can't really tell because I don't have eyes in the back of my head. But we are rocking the purple and gold bar shirt. The one that we're going to be sending on out. I'm going to be in Detroit tomorrow for a client anyway, so I'm going to hit the USPS and get this sent out for my main man, Mr. Eric from New Mexico. All right, guys. What up, MJ? Welcome to it, guys. We are back at it with another Week 10 Game Picks Live. I'll give you guys a breakdown, let you guys know where my calculations and my analysis comes from, giving you guys all that brainstorming as well as the pick. And yeah, let's get started. Let's get this show on the road. All right, guys, welcome back. We got the show intro in. We are back on the Purple and Gold Live show, the Week 10 picks episode, trying to get you guys some good insights to these games. Hopefully we can identify the best games of the week. I am your host, Supreme Overlord, a.k.a. Mr. AI Man 3000, a.k.a. Mr. Purple and Gold Bars, at your service, ladies and gentlemen. We are at it again, giving us a bit of a insight here to these Week 10 picks. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. But let's get right into it. Thursday night football, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Denver Broncos versus the Oakland Raiders. If I'm not mistaken, both these guys are in the same division, right? Let me see. Let's go NFL. Let's go division. What the heck? Let's go teams, standings. I'm pretty sure they're in the same division, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are. We got the Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos in the same division, ladies and gentlemen. So this is definitely going to be a little bit of a closer game than most people expect. Now, we have yet to see Bo Nix and these Denver Broncos put a full 4 quarters in. Mind you, their fourth quarter and the quarters in which they play really, really good, they're lights out. But that ain't a recipe for success, especially long term. Us Minnesota Vikings fans know what that's like when we have a whole bunch of close one-score games. Year 1 of KOC, what a painful playoff exit against those Giants that later just got destroyed in the next round. But anyways, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the Denver Broncos versus the Raiders. The Raiders, man, showed a lot of life last week. They just got so much potential, but they just have no consistency. They're so undisciplined at times. They make a lot of mistakes, and that's just something that raw talent isn't going to overcome. Mind you, Alshon Jenti is doing a heck of a lot to try to change the narrative there in the Raiders, but they just moved on from Jacoby Myers. It's going to be a tough game but for the Raiders to win. But it is a divisional game. So you all know that I'm always like, these divisional games might be a little bit closer than we expect. So I'm going to go with a surprisingly good close game here. I'm going to go 21 Broncos, 17 Raiders. Give me the Broncos in a wild match because I believe they're at home because I think the bottom team is home. Let me double check here. Let's check out the hotel. If we check out hotel, it'll give us locations in Denver, right? Yeah, Denver, Colorado. So we got the bottoms is the home games like I remembered. I'm just a little bit freaking tired and I can't remember things. But give me the Denver Broncos over the Raiders. We got a lot of potential on the Raiders, and I feel like in the next couple of years, if they get a lot of things right and they start getting healthier on the O-line specifically, get their star left tackle back, and maybe hit on an offensive lineman or two in this upcoming draft, they might be I kind of want to pick the upset, but at the same time, the probabilities are too much on the Broncos side, even though I think it's going to be a close game, 21-17 Broncos. Next up, we have the next international game Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. I will definitely not be able to catch this game. I'm going to be at church. You guys know that I'm always at church on Sunday mornings, and then sometimes it's hard for me to get back by the 1 o'clock starts. As you guys can see on the wrap pregame show, sometimes I'm there the last 20 minutes because it's just church and God comes first. I'm sorry, guys. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I ain't twisted. I ain't freaking pressed. It's gonna be a blessed morning nonetheless. We got an interesting game between the Falcons and the Colts. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are not in the same division, right? Because they got the Colts, the Texans, the Titans, and the Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken. And then we got the Falcons, Saints, Bucks, and I forget who else. But anyways, Carolina. So it's not a divisional game, so it's going to be a little bit better. What is going on, Mr. Zoe? We're trying to get through these picks, man. It's been a long freaking day, man. A bunch of lives, a bunch of work, and double effort at the gym today. So 10,000 steps is killing me, man. My hips are freaking... Oh, man, I want to get this done so I can lay down. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. But check out, we got the shirt I'm rocking, the purple and gold bar shirt. Let me see if I can get a good... Can you guys see that logo there? Hopefully you guys get a good look at that. That is what we're going to be giving away. That's one of the two designs. The second design is going to be a secret. It's going to be a secret. I'll unveil it the last week of November because all of December we're going to be doing a giveaway. We're going to be anybody that subscribed and leaves a comment on one of my lives or one of my videos is going to get entered into a draw. And I haven't hashed out the actual details for that, but I do know that I want to give existing subscribers as well as new subscribers a shot to get us. So if you're an existing subscriber, all you have to do is leave a comment. If you're a brand new subscriber, you have to do both, the subscribe and the comment on one of the videos. So making it so that you guys get entries. I might do something where the more maybe I'll hash it out. I still have to figure it out because I don't want to end up with like a freaking, because I'm going to get one of those lottery ball things where I kind of twist. We're going to do a live stream and we're going to give away, I believe, 10, if not maybe more. I don't know. I might be feeling a little generous, but we're going to give a bunch of shirts away with the purple and gold bars, the logo, and kind of giving a little bit of tease. Maybe these are going to be one-offs. These are going to be limited editions because the next set of T-shirts that we're going to get made in the new year, they're going to be part of the merch store, right? So these ones are going to be giveaway shirts. You're never going to be able to get them again. Once they're out there, and that's going to be it. But it's just going to give us a flavor of the upcoming merch that we're going to have, hopefully about the middle of the season. Maybe just to start the season next year, we'll get the launch, the launch of the merch store. Hopefully we're big enough then for it to justify us doing so. So just kind of giving you guys a look. If you guys just got here, the purple and gold bars in graffiti text along the chest. And then we have the purple and gold bars logo. I'll do it again. So hopefully you guys can see there. Oh my God. I feel like Deadpool. So hopefully you guys got a good look. We got the purple and gold bars logo with a little bit of the paint drip at the bottom there, making it so it's a unique shirt there. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. All right, so let's get back to these guys. What is going on, Two-Toned? Thank you so much for joining me, guys. We are getting back to it. So now let's keep talking. We got to figure out the Falcons versus the Colts. This is going to be an interesting game. Let's be real. The Falcons can really gash you for running. We know that. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson are a menace in the backfield. And if they get one of their good games out, they might be really, really hard to beat. But just like us, they are definitely on a roller coaster this season. They got games where they got skunked 30-0, and then they got games where they're beating the best team in the league. Right? So we don't know what we're going to get with the Falcons, but I feel like they're starting to kind of figure it out, maybe become a little bit more consistent, and maybe they're not going to be the total garbage team that we've seen, and I don't think they're going to be the total world beaters that we've also seen, somewhere in the middle. So a middle of the pack, maybe a slightly above average team after it's all said and done, maybe just missing the playoffs. The Colts, they have been rolling, guys. Jonathan Taylor is probably one of the best, if not the best, player in football at this current time, even though they did hold him to, I think it was like 67 yards or 76 yards, if I remember correctly. Maybe I might be thinking of somebody else. Anyways, but regardless of that, he has been on a tear this year. And if he can continue to give any opposing team a hard time, it's going to make it a lot easier for Daniel Jones, because we've seen what happens if Daniel Jones has to put the team on his back. He don't got that. He's not like J.J. McCarthy. He's not like freaking name a clutch quarterback. He ain't like that, okay? He's still a reclamation project, and people want to forget that just because he started 7-2, okay? He is a good quarterback. We are still yet to see what he's going to do. Now, the Falcons got a pretty decent defense. Are they going to go ahead and stymie Jonathan Taylor like that, to where they're going to force Daniel Jones into a bunch of mistakes and cost them the game? I don't know if they can do that. They might, maybe not. I don't know. They got a pretty decent defense, though. But I think it's going to be a closer game than people anticipate. I don't think the Colts are going to make as many mistakes as possible. I know Sauce Gardner practiced today with the Colts, but they're still waiting to see if he clears concussion protocols. So that is still up in the air. Even if he's back, I just don't imagine a guy being able to join in unless your name is Baker Mayfield, where you land the day before and show up on a Thursday night game and go beat one of the best teams in the league. You ain't clutch like that, Sauce, okay? You've been struggling this year, unless you've just been, dragging your feet because you really don't like playing with the Jets. And maybe you come out revitalized if you get cleared. I don't know. But I feel like two first-round picks is a lot to spend to cover one side of the field, when really all you have to do then is just run everything to the opposite side. So I don't know if that really was a great move by the Colts, but I do understand, and I like the I like the aggressiveness, because you never know. This might be the only year that they have to really make a deep playoff run, because I just don't see it, man. I feel like that team is gonna have to carry Danny Dimes in the playoffs. They're gonna have to win ugly games in the playoffs, because I just do not see him carrying the load in a high-pressure game. We know what he does in the playoffs. That just doesn't go away just because you switch uniforms. We saw what happened to Sam Darnold, bouncing around everywhere until he freaking got onto a good team. And then what happened under the big game, under the big lights? The Lions completely destroyed him, and then the Rams completely embarrassing. It was like passer rating of like 55 one game and like 76 the next. So I don't think it's going to fully collapse, but it's going to be rough for Daniel Jones. But this game here, I think it's going to be a little bit closer. It's in Berlin, so most teams might come out flat. So this game might come down to just one half of football. These guys might be jet lagged. Remember a couple of years ago when we seen all the international games and it was everybody's like, what is going on? The first half of football absolutely sucks. Start of the third quarter, everybody's just walking around like they got freaking cinder blocks on their feet. And then the fourth quarter, everybody's like back to normal. And it was like all hell broke loose. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Oh, yeah, and happy birthday, Samuel, again. Happy birthday, sir. This is going to, let's who is going to have the better game coming off some traveling to, what's going to be better, the passing game or the running game when it comes to jet lag and traveling like this? Both guys have incredible running games. Give me the Colts just because I think Jonathan Taylor is going to do much better than Bijan and Tyler Algier combined. I feel like he's going to be looking to run angry. I feel like he's definitely going to do something. I don't think it's going to be a massively high-scoring game. It's going to be like 17-14, 20-15, something ridiculous like that, like just weird numbers. Just because international games can be really hit and miss. Unless you're the Minnesota Vikings, and then that way you're undefeated in England. London is our second home, ladies and gentlemen. So give me the Colts in a really close 3-point, maybe 4-point win, 5-point win, somewhere like that. Some weird number. The Falcons just might be kicking field goals all game, right? 12-17, I don't know. Something wild. Give me the Colts. Next, we got the Saints coming in against the Panthers. Panthers are looking pretty good right now. They've gotten some good quality wins against some good opponents, and but they've also had some terrible losses as well. Bryce Young isn't lighting up the stat sheet, but we know as Minnesota Vikings fans that it doesn't really matter what the stats say as long as you make the right plays at the right time. And last week, Bryce Young made the right place at the right time and got that field goal drive at the very end of the game and put away those Packers. So, Rico Dowdle, Alvin Kamara, Tyler Show. This might be a little bit closer than we think because last week, Tyler Show really struggled to get things kind of moving. We had the Mr. Swiss Army knife, the guy, the snap finger famous guy, the guy that doesn't play anything and he's like a running back, a tight end, a quarterback. That guy, he had to come into the game to spark that offense, and then Show kind of got into it, and he had a decent second half. Can he put something better together? Can we maybe not see a ton of mistakes and maybe upset the Panthers? Possibility, because these Panthers have been up and down. But I'm going to have to gamble here because it is pretty close. I feel like it's like one of those 59 to 41% kind of deals where it can really go any way. But give me the Panthers in a one-score game. I think regardless of who wins, it's going to be won by 7 points. That's how much of a difference this is going to be. So give me the Panthers. Moving on to the Giants versus the Bears. The Giants narrowly escaped that high-powered offense from the Bengals. I heard one of the most ridiculous freaking hot takes today from Nick Wright on his Mahomes Mountain. That we had to fix that on today's what's wrong with Nick Wright episode of Hot Take Review today. He had the audacity to say, is the Bengals system one of those systems where anybody can throw for 400 yards? Maybe the Jets would trade out all their picks and make a move for Joe Burrow in the offseason, because if anybody can throw for 400 in that system, hey, why don't they just grab all those picks and pick up a new young guy because it's a system over there? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, okay? Joe Burrow is a gunslinger, okay? Joe Flacco is a gunslinger. Any gunslinger might work in that because they run out of the shotgun like 85% of the time. So, of course. But we're not talking about the Bengals right now. We're talking about the Giants and the Bears. They survived that high-powered offense. Caleb Williams made a whole bunch of good plays. Now, the Giants, man, I know I have a lot of love for the Giants, okay? I've been telling you guys that they remind me of our Minnesota Vikings in those 2 years when we were between Pat Shurmur and Stefanski. Now, a lot of talent, no direction, a crappy coach. But they got a lot of good players, man. Can that defense is their strongest point, right? So if anything's going to make this a win for the Giants, it's going to be that defense stymieing Caleb Williams. But can they contain the outside? Because we know Sexy Dexy's going to get up the middle all day. Let's be real. But Caleb Williams is able to scramble and roll out, right? So can they hold the edges? Can they hold the sides and contain on Caleb Williams? Because if they can do that, they might have a chance. And Jackson Dart's a guy. He is definitely more than a guy, actually. He's kind of surprising me at times here. He puts himself in the line of fire a little bit too much for my liking. I'm anticipating a bad injury from him in his early part of his career, which will kind of snap some sense into him so he's not constantly putting his freaking future on the line every single time he decides to run for an extra 1 or 2 yards. But man, boy, learn how to slide, man. Learn how to slide, or at least dive, because we know that if you dive forward, you are less likely to get injured than if you're just going to run into a bad hit, you know? So this one could go, I think this one's a lot closer than people think. It's in Chicago, so the advantage Bears a little bit there, but the Bears have been had at home a couple times, especially by our fighting Minnesota Vikings. So this might be a little bit closer. This might be an upset game. I really want to pick the upset just because I think I'm the Minnesota Vikings. What is going on, host? What is going on, man? We're going through the picks here today. I'll get those emailed to you too, so you have them in email format here once we're done. But we're kind of brainstorming it here, sir. But man, I kind of want to pick this upset. I think it's my NFC North freaking rivalries and annoyance trying to get the better of me here. So I gotta calm down and just really, really think here. What are the probabilities? This is definitely one of those games that's going to be closer than people think. But I don't think I can really honestly say that the Bears probably have like one of those like 57 to like 61% probabilities to win, and the Giants, somewhere the opposite, right? So like 47 to like 39, right? Or 43 to 49 or 39, right? So there's a possibility for these Giants, and I just don't know if I can take this upset here. I don't know if I can gamble. But you know what? The thing is that what I said last week is that I didn't think that the Giants could match the 49ers because the 49ers are just more experienced at facing adversity and overcoming adversity. The Giants don't have that ability yet. They're learning how to do it. They've faced adversity this season, and they've come close, but they just can't finish games sometimes. They don't have that grit at the very end sometimes. But, and the thing with them is that when Cam Scatterbo's out there, and even if he just does like a 3-yard run or something like that, the man will like bulldoze a guy or 2 guys and only come up with 2 yards, and the sideline is going crazy. And that pumps the sideline up. That gets them motivated for the next play, and good things happen. But they don't have them anymore. They're going to have to rely on Tyrone Tracy Jr., if I'm not mistaken. And he's shown some flashes. Last year, he had some big games. But he ain't that kind of guy that makes you guys just, the sidelines erupt. You know what I mean? Unless he busts out a massive run. But I'm going to have to pick the Bears here. I think it's going to be a close one regardless. But give me 24-17 Bears. That one kind of feels weird to me. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Texans. Now, the Texans are hurting right now. C.J. Stroud's in concussion protocol, but you know what? Davis Mills looked pretty damn good. I don't know if he looked better. Well, just about anybody looks better than C.J. Stroud for the most part this season. The guy doesn't even know how to stay. Like, if I can pick out Like, I'm just a guy that's got a pretty keen football eye. I don't have the X's and O like my boys over at the Real 2 Sports podcast. I don't have that insight on the X's and O's, but I know when something looks wrong. And if I can pick out the fact that he's not looking off safeties, he's refusing to go through his progression, he stares down his number one or his number two option in that play and refuses to go all the way down until literally the final second when he knows he can't do anything but go to the check down. Like, that's a problem, man. And Davis Mills is a little bit of a wily vet now. You know, he threw some nice passes. It's just rough when you're in that situation. The Jaguars, though, are humming. They got some good wins under their belt. They've had some iffy losses, and they've had some ugly wins. Last week, man, I picked that upset. I told you guys that game was going to be freaking awesome to watch. I know it wasn't awesome to watch for both the Jaguars fan base and the Raiders fan base, but man, it was filled with everything. It was one hell of a roller coaster. There was mistakes, there was awesome plays, there was crazy touchdowns. Brock Bowers, man, oh man, I think he's slowly becoming one of my favorite players. That guy can ball, man. Ooh. And then we're seeing freaking Trevor Lawrence looking out there like he's trying to do his best freaking JJ McCarthy impression and freaking running in for touchdowns, you know, like just, it's wild, man. Is this the game that Davis Mills, because he gets a full week of practice, can he upset the Jaguars? This game is, the Texans defense can definitely keep this close and make it a real good game. And if the Jaguars struggle on offense as a result, it might come down to who's the most efficient based on what's going on. Is the Jaguars that kind of defensive pressure or that defensive unit that can stymie old Davis Mills? I just don't know. This might be this one's a hard one to pick, man. There's a lot. This is how we know that this season is awesome, because as the season goes on, the picks are getting harder and harder to predict. They were hard to predict at the beginning of the season because it was just so backwards. Let's be real. I totally agree, host. What up, John? What up, everybody? Man. Hey, man, Geno put up 4 touchdowns, okay? I know that last play wasn't the prettiest. This is why you have to look off your freaking receipt. But the thing with Geno is that if he has the amount of time, he can properly do all the things that he needs to do in order to make the best play. We've seen it in Seattle. That O-line gave him more than enough time, so he didn't feel rushed. So he didn't have to forget to look look off the safety and look off the O-line or the defensive line so they don't jump at the right time, because he had all the time in the world. He can make sure he went through everything and do everything as needed. But when he's rushed, he makes mistakes. And that last one, oh, man, I was like, here we go, man, please. I remember sitting there like right before it happened. I was like, just please pull this off. Please get this to Brock Bowers. I really want this upset, because that was one of my upset picks last week, and I was so close. But now we're talking about the Jaguars and the Texans here. This is going to be a close one. Ha ha ha! This is going to be, oh, man. It's going to be, oh, man. This could go both ways. It could be like a defensive game, and it's like 17-15 at the end of the game, or 17-14, something like that. It could also just be the wheels fall off all over the place. Davis Mills throws for 250 yards and freaking 3 touchdowns, and freaking Trevor Lawrence is throwing 1 touchdown, 1 interception, running in 2 touchdowns, and just a circus out there. What are we... Why is this pick so hard? Okay, let's lock in. I'm going to calculate on this in the supercomputer here. Give me the Jaguars in a close win. I think the probability lies on their side, just enough for it not to be a coin flip that I can just gamble on. Give me the Jaguars. Give me the Jaguars. All right, Bills, Dolphins, the game that's going to be the best game of the weekend, right? Nah, let's be real. Now, the Bills do have a tendency to play down within their division, okay? They look like world beaters against everybody else, but against their own division, they don't look as hot as they normally do. We know what they did last time against the Dolphins. They won by 7 points, and it was a little bit of a shootout at times there. But I think they're kind of finding a next gear. So I feel like this time the Bills are going to win this with a two-score game. The Dolphins, I think, are a little bit rattled. They moved on from a linebacker over to the Cowboys. So I just don't know. I think they're going to be demoralized. I feel like the locker room is just going to be ready to pack it in. So give me the Bills in a 2-score win. Moving on to the Ravens. Ooh, the game that's going to be so fine that ain't going to be sour. This is going to be a good one, guys. Let me tell you. Let me break this one down a little bit too much. But let's go through it. Now we got the Ravens, okay? Absolutely dog water when Lamar Jackson wasn't there. I honestly, on the Real Sports podcast last weekend, I said, hey guys, I just don't know if Derrick Henry is Adrian Peterson. I thought that he was Adrian Peterson-esque. And then I seen him play without a quarterback. He could not handle 10 in the box. He could not handle 8 in the box. He could not handle 9 in the box. 7 in the box is a little bit too much for him. But when Lamar Jackson is there and they have to, assign someone on the QB spy and that box becomes more manageable for him, he can gash you up. Right? So Lamar is back. I just don't know if you know what? I think that we can do a really good job of limiting the running game, and that fumble heavy Mr. Derrick Henry might rear his head this game. He might get a little bit too big for his britches there, and might cough up a fumble, and it might be really costly because I feel like the Vikings are going to be banging on all cylinder. We're on an all-time high. We have the confidence that we have. Every single one of our the majority of our offensive players have come out and said, man, when J.J. McCarthy's in the huddle, it's just a different feeling. They have a different level of confidence. The way that he speaks the way that he leads in the huddle just gives a lot of freaking confidence to this team. Not to mention on the interview today or yesterday he goes, hey, he was asked, what are you guys going to do about this win? And then how are you guys going to take that into the next week? I think the question was, and he says, once we hit the freaking plane, it's out of there. We need to focus on the next game. And that's what a freaking winner says. Because J.J. McCarthy, say what you want to say about him. He's got what Sam Darnold doesn't have. He's got what freaking Daniel Jones doesn't have. He's got what freaking Jared Goff doesn't have. The ability to win in big games. The ability to always find the right play when it counts under pressure and find ways to win. He's a winner. Let's be real. So that is going to be a massive factor. All three of our phases are going to be extremely, extremely, extremely motivated. Now, when it comes to the Ravens, I want to go back and touch base here a little bit because last week, to me, Lamar Jackson did not play like typical Showtime Lamar Jackson because I think he knows. He's a very smart kid. I think he realizes that if he takes off and runs and takes a big hit or takes an injury, the season's over. So I seen him scramble once or twice because he had no other option to, but I didn't see any design runs by Lamar Jackson. I didn't see himself putting into those situations. I didn't see the play calling reflect that either, that they were confident in letting him do that because they know he takes a freaking bad hit or decides to explode for a run and re-aggravates that hamstring, it's over. It's absolutely over. So I think he's still going to maintain a lot more of that conservative play, which kind of leads to us having a better game because we're not going to have to – it's going to be easier to contain him because he's going to be looking to stay in the pocket and scramble to throw instead of scramble to run like he's known for. So that's going to give us a bit of an advantage. It's in Minnesota, and we have one of the best home field advantages in the game. That's going to give us an advantage, especially early. If we can capitalize early and start strong like we did against the Lions and come away with a decent lead, 7 points, 10 points, 14 points, it's going to change the way that this Ravens offense has to operate. Maybe we can force them into being a one-dimensional team. That's a lot. That's a big task. It's going to be a big task for our Minnesota Vikings, but our special teams banging on all cylinders. Mr. Price is doing great jobs of giving us short fields and giving us opportunities. If that freaking hold didn't happen, we would have beat the brakes off of those lines by an extra 7 points because that kickoff return got nullified on us. So I'm going to have to give our Vikings the edge here. I think we have the probabilities here. It's still a small one. It's one of those like 57 to 43%. So not close enough to be a coin flip here, but I feel like that based on what I'm seeing from the Ravens, they're in that situation where they can still lose one, maybe 2 games and make the playoffs in that division, in their division specifically. Right, because they're still going to come back and they're going to play their divisional games, and that's going to make a big factor in the overall standings in that game. So I don't think they're going to be totally sold on freaking having to win, although everybody's saying that every game here on out for the Ravens is a must-win. But I feel like they're not going to be selling out because if they take that bad injury, if they're one injury away from losing it all. So I think it's going to be a little bit more conservative, which is going to play to us. So I'm going to take the Vikings here in a solid win. Give me 31-24 Vikings. We got the Jets versus the Browns. 2 dumpster fires going at it. This is going to be one of the lowest scoring games of the week. Can the Jets pull off and get their second win of the season? Oh, I bet you they hope that. They're probably trying to. They're going to tank. They're after that number 1 pick. So the Browns, they got one of the best defenses in the league still, even though they can't do anything with it. But maybe this is the Shedeur breakout game. Yeah, right. Stefanski isn't playing freaking Shedeur, man. The guy would rather get fired before he plays Shedeur, man. Oh, my goodness. What is going on in that dumpster fire? I just don't get it. So this might be the Dylan Gabriel game of the season. They might be praising his name at the end of this game. I just don't know. But give me the Browns in a really ugly win, 12-7. Oh, that's going to be really bad. No, give me 12-6. 2 field goals from the Jets, 4 field goals from the Browns. 12-7. Oh, 12-6. That's going to be so ugly. I watch every game, even though they're the condensed 40-minute versions. That's going to be so hard to watch, man. Oh, I don't even know. I might skip it just because it's not like I'm going to learn anything about either team. I might just skip this game. I might just watch the highlights because that's going to be ugly. All right, now let's go get to another 1 o'clock game that's going to be a freaking firestorm here. We got the Patriots, the 7-2 Patriots, the freaking upstart Patriots, the guys that I said we're going to make a heck of a splash this season. And I've been saying that Mike Vrabel is going to be the coach of the year. And man, that preseason bold take isn't looking so freaking bold nowadays. Patriots are front runners, or Mike Vrabel's front runner, in my opinion, for the coach of the year. I don't care that Mike Shanahan has gotten these many wins with a banged up team. They have a great system, and we know they can win when they're injured. We know that. So it's not like it's a big, oh, my goodness, it's not like we've never seen it. Like Mike Vrabel taking a team that was one of the worst teams last year and completely turned the freaking page on that. It's going to be a close one. We got Baker Mayfield coming into town. Their defense is definitely freaking wily. They're underrated, man. They're underrated. They forced the turnover in Detroit and a bunch of 3-and-outs and really put a lot of pressure on Detroit, even though they couldn't get Baker going. Baker couldn't find that next gear, but Buccaneers are at home. So Baker might start with that, man. Baker might start with that fire that usually he has to kind of get, juiced up for. Patriots are going to be looking to kind of right the ship after narrowly escaping the Falcons last week. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a real good game. I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. I feel like it's going to be something like 27-24, 24-21, something like that. But I'm going to take, although I really like the Patriots, I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one. I think the edge, the probabilities are on the Buccaneers side. Mbuka should be back, and I believe both their running backs are back as well. So that's going to play a massive factor here. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's all they need. John says the Jets traded their entire defense. Yeah, maybe that's what the Browns need in order to blow out a team. That's a good one, John. I like that one. I really like that one. All right, but I'm gonna take the Buccaneers in a solid 3-point win, a walk-off field goal in Baker Mayfield fashion, coming down to the wire, and he's gonna definitely get it done. Then we got the 4 o'clock games. We got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Now, the Cardinals were definitely quite the surprise this week. I definitely called that game being a bit of a coin flip. I just thought it was, like I said on the pod this last Saturday, the Real Sports pod, and on my weekly picks, I feel like this game could be a race to 24 points when it came to the Cowboys and Cardinals. It just went the other way around. I just was like, I think this, even though they're going to be stymied because this Cardinals defense is kind of wily, okay? They're not bad. I just don't know. And 2, I thought Kyler would play, so they're just a different team with Jacoby, man. Jacoby's looking like he's going to either catch a big payday or take over the role. I have no idea, man. Or maybe not a big payday, maybe just a decent payday, maybe like a whole $22 million a year for like 2 years or something. A prove-it deal sort of thing, maybe from a young up-and-coming team like the Dolphins or something like that. Because they need a big guy. They can't. Man, Miami must hate having such a small guy at freaking at quarterback. Man, I think they'd be happy with a Jacoby Brissett. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But this game, the Seahawks versus the Cardinals, it's in Seattle. It is a divisional game, regardless of how bad the teams are in this division. They always seem to find ways to frickin' stifle some teams. The Seahawks usually actually have a really hard time against the Cardinals. So this might be one of those games that's favored a little bit more so than people want to give credit to the Cardinals because, when you got that kind of deep book on and notes and everything on your divisional opponents, it's just a different animal. But can I really bet against the Seahawks, man? Regular season Sam is really, really darn good. They got themselves Rashid Shaheed. I don't know if he's going to be a massive impact in his first game with the Seahawks. He's going to be limited. It's going to take some time for him to kind of learn all the plays. But, if he can play some freaking backyard football out there, and after the play call is done, Sam goes, you're on a curl route here. You're in the slot. You're running an in and out, whatever it is. And maybe he can still produce really well. But the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett are something different, man. They're just a wild card. I'm going to call the upset. I can't believe something's telling me this is going to be an upset win. I'm going to take the Cardinals here. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying that. My logic in my brain is saying, yo, pump the brakes here. What are you talking about? No, I'm going to do it. Something inside me is saying, pick the Cardinals. That's what I'm going to do right now. This is definitely not something I recommend you guys doing for your weekly pick'ems. If you guys are doing it like I do at my local pub there, where we throw a couple bucks there in and try to win the pot for the week, I probably won't pick the Cardinals there, to be honest. But something is telling me here, pick the Cardinals in the upset. I don't think we've picked an upset yet, so let's go. Let's freaking go. Cardinals versus Seahawks. We're going to take the Cardinals in a wild upset just because it is a divisional game. And, let's see how that one plays out. 49ers versus Rams, a rematch of that unbelievable game that we had early in the season where the Rams and Mac Jones it was Mac Jones' coming out party, man. When he went down, I was like, oh my goodness, did he freaking tear a calf? It looked really bad, man. I was like, I knew it wasn't an Achilles just because of the way that he was reacting. I was like, oh, but then it ended up being, I think he was just cramping up because he hadn't played football in so long that he was thrown in there. His body wasn't used to that kind of freaking workload. So he stuck it out and he freaking brought the win home. It's in freaking San Francisco. But then again, LA and San Francisco, they're right there. So it's not like it's that much of a home field advantage. But I'm going to take the Rams here. I think the Rams are gonna fix a lot of the mistakes that they made in that first game. They're not going to allow the 49ers to hang in there with them this time around. I think Puka Nacua is definitely going to be he's back, right? So he's going to be banging on all cylinders. I feel like this offense is going to be back to what we were expecting to see. And I think the Rams come away with one in a 7-point win. Give me the Rams over the 49ers in a close divisional matchup. Ooh, that's going to be a good game. I want to watch that one as well. Lions versus Commanders. Man, this game I had circled off because it's the Jaden Daniels Lions freaking rematch from that embarrassing playoff loss that the Lions had. But you know what? The Lions should be used to embarrassing playoff losses. Let's be real. Come on now. The rerun kings. We know what you are. You can't win big games. Jared Goff, what do you do in the playoffs, bro? You collapse. You go from like a 95 on average, like 95 to 100 passer rating in the regular season average, down to like 85 in the playoffs. Man, you're just hot garbage in the playoffs. You're literally this generation's Phillip Rivers. I will literally go to my grave saying that. The only way that I'm going to change that opinion is if he actually wins a Super Bowl. I just don't think that's going to happen. He's just empty stats. He's a regular season champ. But these Commanders, alas, they don't have the man, the myth, the legend, Jaden Daniels, and that's something that they need. I can't put that kind of faith in Marcus Mariota. Even though he's a wily vet, even though he might be able to freaking throw a touchdown pass to himself like he has in the past, I just don't know if they have enough. That defense has a couple wily pieces, even though they lost one of their young guns there to an ACL, if I'm not mistaken. And Lattimore, ACL, that's what it was. Not young guy, but definitely a good player. I just don't see that the Commanders have enough. I think that this is just too much odds to go against. This is more like a 65% probability here, 60 to 65% for the Lions. So I'm going to have to pick the Lions here, even though, I'm not a big fan of the Detroit kitty cats, as some of those Vikings fans like to call them. But I have to be objective. I have to look at I live and die by the probabilities, okay? Even though here and there I do take some shots at some upsets here because I want to try to make some ground and kind of, come away with a win here on one of these weekends here at the Real to Sports Podcast because I need to get one. Lions, Commanders. Yeah, Lions are definitely going to take this one. But Sunday night, we have the Steelers versus the Chargers. Man, Joe Alt is out for the season. That's going to make a hell of a big difference for these Chargers. I think that's going to really turn the Chargers from an above-average team to a slightly below-average team. That pass rush is going to be banging for the Steelers, man. Now, can Herbert roll out enough, get the ball out quick enough? He needs time in the pocket. He can sling it. He can sling it deep as well. But if he doesn't have time, it really doesn't matter. The Steelers got a really good pass rush. Their O-line can be shaky. Their defense is old. They might be tired after putting on everything out on the field to dethrone these Colts last week. They're probably drinking their Metamucil and whatever old people drink. Their Ensures all week because, they got to get their vitamins and minerals back. That secondary is old, man. So, but can they do something against the Chargers? I think this is going to be a really good game. I think there's going to be a bit of a battle here. I think both teams are going to fight. Chargers are definitely got a lot of fight in them, okay? Even if they are injured like that, they're going to give it all they can, and they're going to keep it a close game. Steelers as well, they're going to fight. We might see a low-scoring game just because everything is just falling apart, man. Old man Rogers might be like, somebody get me down to Brazil. I need some ayahuasca to get me through this week because I am hurting. No amount of Ensure and freaking daily Tylenols are going to get me back up to par for this game because this game is going to be a freaking knock 'em down fight. It might be a low scoring game because these two teams are just that tired or banged up. But give me the Steelers here in a close game. I'm going to give it a one-score game. Make it 3 points. 3 points to the Steelers in a weird hard-fought win there. Moving on to Monday Night Football. We got the Eagles versus the Packers, man. This is a really interesting game because both teams are extremely flawed. Let's be real. I think if you guys were paying attention to the trade deadline, the Eagles made a lot of moves. And you don't make that kind of moves if you're a Super Bowl contender, if you don't got a whole bunch of internal problems that you're trying to fix without people noticing. But I read into things a little bit, and I see things that other people don't see. And if you're going to be bringing all those players in, there is something wrong in Philadelphia. Okay? They haven't put a full 4 quarters together. They put 3 quarters together against us Minnesota Vikings, but that second quarter was horrendous. They couldn't even complete a single drive. It was like 3 or 4 3-and-outs in a row, and then we were the ones trying to get something going. We were more effective than they were. I think we ended up with like 3 points or maybe even 7 points in that second quarter. It kind of helped a little bit with that comeback, but we just couldn't pull it together, and they kind of finished it off at the end, put on a solid half. They're usually good for at least one half. And the Packers, man, oh my goodness, what is wrong with the Packers? They beat really good teams, and then they lose to really bad teams. It's like, man, what happened to Jordan Love? Like, how are you, year 5, 6, 7? What year is this now, Jordan Love? So-called Super Bowl caliber quarterback, and you're making rookie mistakes out there? What are you doing with these interceptions, man? Backups and freaking rookies make those mistakes, man. What is going on? Unbelievable. So I think this is going to be a really, really wild game. Now, this is one of those situations where it's kind of really hard to tell, because the Packers are actually kind of really good on the run defense, even though it didn't look like it this last weekend against the freaking against the Panthers there. But man, I just don't know here. This is too hard to pick. What would work out better for our Vikings here? If the Eagles win this week and lose in the upcoming weeks, or if the Packers lose this week and then lose, or you know what I mean, and then lose in the following weeks, win or lose, I don't know what's going to help us better. I don't even think that's going to play a factor. I think it's just too close to call. Lambeau Field isn't what it used to be. Can the Eagles just one solid half be enough to take out these Packers? The Packers are going to be angry. The Eagles are coming off a bye. Both really motivated teams here. Give me the Eagles 24-17. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the picks for the week. Week 10 picks. That's it in the books. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Let's quickly go over. Eric, one of my main guys. Bob, thank you for joining us. Hopefully your rehab's going okay, Bob, because I know that you've been dealing with that. Hopefully you're home. I think I remember you saying that you're home now, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. There's no way KOC is getting fired at least for another 2 years. Things have to literally fall apart so bad. And that's just not happening, man. It's just not happening. In that organization, in that building, it's been reported that they just have this blind faith in KOC right now. He's got too many wins versus losses. And the wins that he's had some big wins. They're just not there yet. He has to honestly completely melt down the rest of the season, completely melt down next season, and literally have us bottom of the barrel these 2 next years for them to consider moving on from. Let's be 100% real. There is too much belief in KOC in Minnesota. I have a lot of belief in KOC. I have a lot of belief in Brian Flores. I have a lot of belief in Kwesi and in an organization and in this roster. I've basically predicted what the season's going to be like so far. I said games 7, 8, and 9 were going to be the ones that we get right. And what happened? What happened, guys? J.J. McCarthy comes back and he proves what I've been saying about J.J. McCarthy. He's a winner. The guy isn't going to light up the stat sheets. That's not what he does. He reminds me, the stat line from this weekend reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger. In that first year, I remember being like, Ben, Who the frick is this guy, man? The guy, everybody's throwing for 250 plus yards, 300 yards. This guy's throwing a measly 160, 3 touchdowns, and coming away with wins. This is I don't like this. But I didn't know that. I was super young into football. But now that I've done my research, I know that Big Ben was really NFL ready when he came into the league. And he was a winner. He's got that gene in him. He's got that drive to win and do whatever it takes to win. And in that first season, he was a game manager. That's why you saw the stats that he had. He opted to make the right play at the right time so that the team would win. He had a solid team around him. That's what J.J. McCarthy is. He's a winner at every level. He can make every single pass in the book. I've seen him do it from his IMG days. And I've seen him take the role as a leader, as a winner in Michigan. He doesn't have that ego which says, hey, I know we got a freaking great running game and we got an awesome defense here in Michigan, but I'm J.J. McCarthy. I win at every level. We're going to win this through my arm. He wasn't stat padding and looking to increase his draft stock like most young quarterbacks. He's mature. He's wise. He knows he was more willing to do what it takes to win than go for personal accolades. And that's the type of mentality that you have to be a quarterback that can win win the Super Bowl and win in the playoffs. And that's who we have. And yeah, he's going to be a game manager. He's going to make a lot of mistakes still the rest of the season. But I'm telling you, next year, it's going to be one heck of a year 2 step. And there might be a little bit of a sophomore slump here in year 3. But after that, man, we're going to have some really good playoff runs next year and the year after, even if we don't make it all the way. And you know what? If we squeak into the playoffs this year, although I think that we might not make it far because that's what probabilities say, JJ's that type of guy to prove me wrong because he just does whatever it takes to win, and he rises to the occasion. And maybe he can lead us to a Cinderella win. Because that's how much I believe in J.J. McCarthy. Because I do my homework. I spent hours and hours on J.J. McCarthy. First, pre-draft, just watching everything that he did in college. And I said, this is the guy that I want because he's the most accurate and he does what needs to be done to win, and that's what we need. And then when I heard this, he's a winner at every level cliche, I was like, oh, man, I don't want to hang my head on something like that. Let me do the research. And then I go and learn about this man, and I do hours upon hours of research and watching game film and everything. The man has what it takes. He's got things that Sam Darnold doesn't have, Jared Goff doesn't have, freaking Daniel Jones doesn't have. So maybe he proves me wrong. I really hope he proves me wrong, because if we win a Super Bowl with him in his year, oh my goodness. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That'll be something sweet, won't it be? But here we go, guys. Thank you so much. We've made it to the last. Thank you for everybody. Eric, thank you for joining me. John, Bob, Real to Sports, the host has been in here. Samuel, happy birthday. Two-toned. Zoe from In the Zone. MJ, you guys are all freaking amazing, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Skol, baby.